Imagine standing in a world-class kitchen at dawn, sharpening your knives and preparing for a ritual that leaves you feeling completely hollow. Every single morning, you bake a massive gourmet cream cake. Not for a party, not for a guest, not even for a birthday, just because a specific royal demand says it must be there. And every single night, you are forced to do the one thing no chef can stand: toss that untouched masterpiece directly into the trash. For the staff at Royal Lodge, this wasn't just a quirk, it was an embarrassing window into a world of unchecked excess that is finally coming to an end. Why would anyone insist on a daily, sugary Groundhog Day while their royal standing was quietly crumbling? Stick around until the end, because we're revealing the shocking reason this daily ritual finally stopped. If you enjoyed diving into the secrets behind the palace gates, I'd love for you to join our channel. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. We're so glad to have you here. Now, let's go inside the most chaotic household in royal history. Working for the York household wasn't just a job. According to those who lived it, it was like being trapped in a psychological thriller where the rules changed every hour. Insiders say the atmosphere inside Royal Lodge was so intense that some employees didn't even make it to their first lunch break before walking out the door. One former staffer described the environment as managing 50 jealous lovers all at once. Imagine the tension of a high-stakes boardroom, but instead of corporate deals, you're navigating the unpredictable whims of a woman who allegedly demanded perfection while the world around her was quietly falling apart. But it wasn't just the pressure that left the staff reeling. Reports suggest the household was operating on a level of chaos that would make a reality TV producer blush. One staff member was reportedly hired for the sole purpose of organizing Sarah's tablets. Not the estate, not the schedule, just a collection of electronics. The turnover rate was legendary, with rumors indicating that the constant shifting of moods made it nearly impossible to keep the peace. You'd be focused on a high-priority task 1 minute, only to be redirected to a bizarre personal errand the next. It was a revolving door of exhausted professionals who realized that no amount of royal prestige was worth the mounting frustration. And yet, the emotional rollercoaster of the staff was only the surface of the problem. Because while the employees were struggling to keep up with the daily drama, the financial reality behind the scenes was becoming even more unsettling. If you think the staffing arrangements were strange, wait until you hear how the bills were actually being paid, or, in some cases, how they weren't. If you think the staffing arrangements were strange, the financial reality behind the scenes was allegedly even more unsettling. Some insiders claim that the glamorous life at Royal Lodge was built on a house of cards that threatened to collapse at any moment. Reports suggest that despite the public image of royal luxury, the personal finances within the household were so strained that staff members were sometimes forced to use their own personal credit cards to cover basic household expenses. Imagine being an employee, already navigating an unpredictable environment and having to foot the bill for your employer's lifestyle, while reportedly never knowing if you'd actually be reimbursed. But the confusion didn't stop with the staff. Rumors indicate that financial boundaries within the family itself became incredibly blurred, with claims surfacing that Sarah allegedly drew on Princess Beatrice's credit card to keep things afloat. It's a level of desperation that sounds more like a plot from a soap opera than the life of a royal figure. According to sources, she once even resorted to paying a psychic with packets of cigarettes. It was a world where freebies were reportedly expected, couture was borrowed and never returned, and bills were treated more like suggestions than obligations. Even more bizarre was the way she handled her own professional image. Insiders say she would often buy massive quantities of her own books just to hand them out as gifts, creating a strange loop of self-promotion that few could understand. It was as if she was constantly trying to buy back the relevance and prestige that was slowly slipping through her fingers. While she was reportedly trying to keep up appearances with £3,000 a night stays at luxury wellness retreats, the mounting debt was becoming impossible to ignore. This wasn't just about a love for the finer things, it was about a lifestyle that the House of York simply could no longer justify as the public's patience began to wear thin. And while the financial chaos was a headache for the palace, it was nothing compared to the darkness that was about to be exposed. Because as the bills piled up, a much more serious shadow from her past was beginning to loom over everything. For years, the public saw Sarah Ferguson as the fun royal, the high-energy redhead who brought a much-needed laugh to a stiff monarchy. But as 2026 unfolds, that cheerful mask has slipped to reveal something much more troubling. Documents recently released by the US Department of Justice have reportedly sent shockwaves through the palace, with emails surfacing that show Sarah calling a convicted financier her dear, spectacular and special friend. It wasn't just a casual social link. The communication allegedly continued long after the world knew about his crimes. Reports suggest she even referred to him as the brother she always wished for, a statement that has left the public and the king reeling. This isn't just old news resurfacing, it's a mounting legal crisis. In early 2026, US lawmakers officially requested her cooperation with an ongoing investigation into those very connections. The pressure is higher than it's ever been, with some believing she could be called to testify under oath about what she really knew. Every time a new file is unsealed, another layer of the fun Fergie image is stripped away, leaving her status more precarious than ever. The fallout has been swift and devastating. Charities have cut ties, patronages have been revoked, and her once profitable business empire is reportedly being wound down as we speak. As the public outrage grows, the king has allegedly made it clear that radioactive members of the family will no longer be protected by the crown's shadow. And as she realizes the gates of the palace are closing for good, Sarah has reportedly made a move that has everyone talking. Because just as the headlines reached a fever pitch, she completely vanished. As the legal and financial walls began to close in, Sarah performed her most dramatic stunt yet. She completely vanished. While headlines in early 2026 screamed about title losses and secret emails, the woman at the center of the storm was nowhere to be found. It took months of high-stakes detective work, but reports finally tracked her down to a secluded £2,000-a-night chalet in the Austrian Alps. This isn't just a vacation. Sources say she is effectively in hiding, holed up near a luxury wellness clinic while she waits to see if the legal heat in London and Washington will finally cool down. But the Austrian escape is far from a relaxing retreat. Insiders claim Sarah feels abandoned by the monarchy, isolated in a high-end bolt hole while the king reportedly cuts off all formal communication. Imagine the psychological toll of going from the grand halls of Windsor to a quiet alpine room, ordering room service in total silence while your location is kept a closely guarded secret from everyone, including some of your own friends. Rumors suggest she's been laying false breadcrumbs for months, hinting she was in Ireland or even California, all to keep the media from discovering where she's really staying. The question everyone is asking now is, who is actually footing the bill for a luxury exile that costs over £14,000 a week? With her charities closed and her businesses being dissolved, some believe she is relying on a dwindling circle of wealthy international contacts who are still willing to shield her. But even the most loyal friends have their limits, and the pressure to face the music is becoming an international demand. As she recalibrates in the mountains, the reality of her new life is finally starting to set in. She isn't just running from the headlines, she's running out of places to go. And while Austria offers a temporary sanctuary, the palace has already prepared its final move. Because back in England, the life she once knew at Royal Lodge has been officially dismantled, and her new permanent home is far less grand than anyone expected. Sarah Ferguson has officially reached a point of no return, and the proof isn't just in the headlines, it's in the address on her mail. In March 2026, the city of York took the unprecedented step of unanimously stripping her of the freedom of the city, an honor she had held for nearly 40 years. It was a move that local officials described as closing an embarrassing chapter for the city. But the real blow came earlier, when the palace reportedly made the quiet but firm decision to restrict her use of royal styles and honors entirely. The woman who once moved through the world as a duchess is now, according to insiders, being addressed by staff as a private citizen, signaling that the royal protective shield has been permanently retracted. But where do you go when the 30-room mansion you've called home for decades finally locks its doors? While Andrew has reportedly moved into Marsh Farm on the King's Sandringham estate, sources claim Sarah's future is much more uncertain. Reports suggest she is currently in a state of residential limbo, occasionally seen being driven in blacked-out cars to visit the Sandringham cottage under the cover of darkness. It's a staggering fall from the grandeur of Royal Lodge to a secluded Norfolk farmhouse where the staff has been cut down to just a skeleton crew of 3. The silence from the palace has been deafening. Rumors indicate that even her own daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, have been urged to maintain a visible distance as the king continues his mission to slim down the monarchy and distance it from anyone linked to the recent investigative files. For Sarah, the Sandringham exile isn't just a change of scenery, it's a total erasure of the status she spent a lifetime trying to maintain. She is reportedly living a life of quiet confinement, far from the luxury wellness retreats and high society galas of her past. The era of the Yorks as a central pillar of royal life is officially over, leaving behind only the stories of discarded cakes and unpaid bills. But as the dust settles on Marsh Farm, one final chilling question remains. Was Sarah Ferguson merely a bystander in this collapse, or is she the one holding the key to the next great royal scandal? Because even in exile, Sarah Ferguson has never been one to stay silent for long, and her next move might be the most dangerous one yet. What if the most dangerous thing about a woman with nothing left to lose is the secret she's still holding? For decades, Sarah Ferguson has been the ultimate royal survivor, bouncing back from scandals that would have ended anyone else. But as of May 2026, the game has changed. Insiders say the Houdini of the royal family is currently facing a choice that could permanently alter the monarchy. Stay silent in her Norfolk exile, or accept one of the multi-million-dollar tell-all offers currently flooding her inbox. Rumors indicate that a major US publishing house has recently upped the stakes, offering a figure that could solve all her reported financial woes in exchange for the unfiltered story of life behind the palace walls. But even as the book world buzzes, there's a new whisper circulating through the halls of Sandringham. It is claimed that Sarah is already looking for an escape route far beyond the borders of the UK. Rumors suggest she and Andrew are considering a permanent move to Portugal to be closer to Princess Eugenie, seeking a simpler life away from the relentless scrutiny of the British press. It would be the final symbolic break from the country that once saw her as a future queen, traded for a quiet existence in a sun-drenched villa. Whether it's a bombshell memoir or a silent exit to the Mediterranean, the era of the unpredictable Duchess is officially over. Sarah Ferguson remains, as always, the monarchy's most complicated plot twist, a woman who survived the cream cakes, the scandals, and the exile, only to end up exactly where she started, reinventing herself for an audience that can't stop watching. Because in the world of the Yorks, the only thing more certain than a scandal is the fact that Sarah Ferguson will always find a way to have the last word. As the gates of Royal Lodge close and the silence from the palace grows louder, we are left wondering if this is truly the end of her story or just the beginning of her most controversial chapter yet. One thing is for certain. Whether she is in a secluded cottage in Norfolk or a high-end chalet in the Alps, the world will be waiting to see if that last cream cake was ever actually eaten. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the royal madness. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us keep bringing you these untold stories. And if you haven't already, click subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of the drama. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the monarchy was right to distance itself? Or does Sarah deserve one more comeback? We'll see you in the next one.